Are you able to receive? Hello everyone, I'm Sarah from Everyday Starlet. Welcome to my channel. I make videos to inspire you to be the star of your own life. Today I want to talk about a woman's ability to receive, which this is actually a big phenomenon that I've been noticing lately. I have a lot of thoughts on this topic, but I want to touch on a few. Feminine energy in general, and if you're not familiar with what I mean by masculine and feminine energies, I talk about that in a lot of my other videos, so I'm not going to delve into that too deeply in this, but feminine energy, which most women are feminine at their core, is a receptive energy. The feminine is meant to receive and the masculine is meant to give. If you think about it in simple terms of the basic fundamental role of the masculine and feminine, which is creating a baby, the masculine gives to the feminine everything, and then the feminine receives that and then creates the baby. And then the masculine is intended to provide for, because the feminine energy is receptive and creative, whereas masculine energy is protecting and providing. So that basically sums up masculine and feminine interactions in short. There you go. Things in our society have shifted where women in general are very, very, very much blocked to receiving, like anything at this point. And it's so deep, like it's so ingrained, and I don't want to get into all of the dynamics. I have a lot of videos where I talk about why I think that masculine and feminine dynamics have shifted and what I think the media and society have done. I have a lot of other videos where I talk about that. There is a phenomenon that I've even noticed. I even noticed it the other day. I was driving and, you know, I'm a woman in a car alone. I'm not really threatening. And I stopped. It was a woman at a crosswalk. So like legally in my state, if I don't stop and let her cross, like if a cop sees me, they could give me a ticket. Like it's the law. So I stopped to let her cross. And it was almost like she was like, no, go ahead. Like, no, go ahead. Like she was like afraid to just have someone stop and like let her cross the street. And it was like, I mean, she clearly wanted to cross the street. Like it wasn't like she was like trying to wave me off, but it was like she was embarrassed to have somebody like do something, which to be honest with you, I mean, yeah, I did want to be nice to her, but also like legally I had to, you know what I mean? But even then it was like from a woman, you know what I mean, who's not necessarily, wasn't doing it obviously to hit on her or anything, you know, it was just out of the kindness of my heart. And we're so blocked to receiving anything, any kind of kindness. It's just, it's so ingrained in us, which is so destructive because it's against all of our feminine urges, which are to receive things. And I think it's just so sad. And you see it sometimes. I know I've done a ton of work on learning to accept compliments. Most people in general, especially women, are not, I mean, it's the Mean Girls line where it's just like, if someone gives you a compliment and you say thank you, and it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you accepted that. I think that's from Mean Girls. It's like we're almost ingrained to like have it be offensive if we accept a compliment. And I know like I've really trained myself over the years to, if someone does give me a compliment, like I receive it and I say thank you. Like I enjoy it. And that's, I mean, that took a lot of work. And I see so many women that are just not stepping into that, just even being able to take a compliment from anyone, you know, let alone a man who, you know, let's be serious when we're just talking about life and reality. Say if I give a woman a compliment, I'm less threatening because clearly I'm not hitting on her. Clearly I'm doing it out of the kindness of my heart. Whereas when a woman has a man compliment her, there's all kinds of other thoughts that go on in her head. And it can potentially seem more threatening. I'm not saying all men are threatening, but I'm just saying that like it changes the dynamic a little bit. But even from a woman, women can't accept compliments. So imagine if you can't even accept a compliment from a woman who's literally just doing it to be nice. How are you going to be able to accept a compliment from a man when you're also have other things in your head about what it could mean or other types of things? You know what I mean? Like, I hope that made sense. I don't know if that made sense, but I hope it made sense. So I would say the number one comment that I hear from men when they're complaining about or saying what they want in a woman or complaining about the way that women are today, one of the biggest complaints that I hear is that men just want a woman who they can either say something nice to or do something nice for and not have them attack them or not have them deflect, or like to be able to receive something nice or a nice compliment or something like that. So I hear a lot of men saying that. So like, ladies, men are desiring that. Now, on the flip side, I will also say that the most hate that I have ever gotten on anything that I've said on social media has been when I've said that men should pay on dates. And mostly hate from men. I have had some women who have said that they prefer to contribute or pay their own way or things like that or whatever. But it was never hateful. But like, I got hate. I mean, I'm talking the meanest comments and some of the most aggressive, like angry stuff. Like, yeah, I gotta tell you. So there's a disconnect here, right? So on the one hand, you have a lot of men who are arguing, hey, we want women who are able to receive. We want to be able to do things for a woman. We want to be able to say something nice, to do something nice for a woman and have her accept that and not assume that there's an ulterior motive. On the other hand, if a woman says, okay, well, I think men should pay on dates, and I'm not saying it's the same men at all, but you have a whole realm of men who are like, gold digger, you're awful, you're selfish, whatever, and this sort of anger. As much as I acknowledge that I'm sure men are confused about what they're supposed to do when it comes to dealing with, you know, male-female dynamics, I'm not going to deny that I'm sure men are very confused about what they're supposed to do. Women are confused as well, right? Like, because on the one hand, you have men who are saying, we want to be able to do something nice for you. On the other hand, you have men who are saying like, oh, well, if you want us to do something nice for you, then you either are selfish or you need to make sure you're giving something back to us. You know what I mean? Which is going to make a woman feel unsafe. It's one of the #1 things that I got on when I commented that men should pay on dates. That was one of the #1 responses is like, well, what's she gonna do for me? Or like, what is she gonna give me? Or like, well, if a man's expected to pay, then isn't a woman expected to put out? Like, that was basically the response. Which to me, I mean, to me it's like, excuse me, if you think you can buy a woman for the price of dinner, like, I don't even want to get into, and I could do a whole separate video because I could go off on this topic and I don't want to go off on it about the idea of like how much we've diminished sexuality and the idea that like a woman actually like opening up her body to a man, you know, the fact that he thinks that just because he bought her a meal that she should be able to open herself up to a lot of other things. I don't know. I could get into that concept and the whole idea of like how we view sexuality and how we view sex and things like that. I don't want to dig down that rabbit hole in this video. But if you want me to do another video about that, I'd be more than happy to. It's that energy of, okay, but a woman actually like providing good company and a woman actually being grateful and just sharing her feminine energy with you, like for a man to think, okay, well, no, I need this form of payment back. I mean, if you're a man and you're watching, can you not see how unsafe that would make a woman feel? And I think that's part of the problem is because, and I'm not saying that all men do this. I 100% don't. If I believe that all men were like this, I probably would just give up on men completely. But like, I'm not saying all men do this, but there are enough men in the world right now in this current situation who believe that if they do something nice for a woman owes them something. Many women have been traumatized by that experience of that they block out any kind of receiving because they feel like, okay, now I owe a man something, and they don't want to be in debt because that doesn't feel safe in reality, right? It's a really important part of this discussion as far as receiving goes. And again, I'm not saying that all men are like this, and I'm saying that that's kind of like an extreme example. But yeah, I mean, it is an example of ways that women have now been conditioned to not feel safe. And I do think that also too, and again, a lot of people blame feminism for everything, and I have a video with my opinions about feminism if you want to look that up, so I'm not going to delve into that too deeply here. But I do think that there is a concept of when you have this sort of movement of this role, or women from my generation and even younger who've grown up in this, that women have to be equal, they have to be the same. It puts women in this sense of like, okay, well, if all things being equal, then if I receive something from a man, sometimes they even believe that they have to give him something back, and that they don't know if they're willing to give what, you know, what he may want from her, because we've diminished the gifts that the feminine brings to a relationship. We diminish the fact that for most men, when they give you a compliment, you smiling and saying thank you is gift enough, because that's not really considered currency in our world, because we think of things and you know, currency, payments, things like that in a very masculine way of like doing and having everything be an equal exchange. We don't think of, in our current society, the gifts that the feminine energy brings to a man. I mean, and I'm not talking about sexual gifts. I'm talking about literally just a smile or a thank you, or just showing some kind of appreciation as being a gift. We assume that, okay, well, he's done something for us, now we have to do something that's the equivalent or the male equivalent for them, because we're so conditioned, everybody is so conditioned, at least in our society, to believe that it's these sort of like masculine gifts that are the only thing that is a gift. So it's like, if a man does say pays on dinner, the woman's like, well, I have to give him something back, whether or not she thinks he expects sex from her, or whether or not she thinks, okay, well, no, I have to pay next time, because that payment, that paying that money, is the only thing that we think of in our society as being a gift, as opposed to a man paying on a date, paying for dinner, gifting a woman with you know, a meal, is showing that he's providing for her a meal, and her presence, her energy, her feminine aliveness, her feminine radiance isn't gift enough to him, because I don't think that we really emphasize to women how much a man being in that feminine energy, just being in that presence of that, is a gift to him. And I don't think there's as many men who fully appreciate it, because I don't think they see it very often. So I don't think men in our current society actually fully experience the full feminine energy, because women are taught to suppress it so much. And I hope this is making sense, because I know I'm rambling because I'm going off on different tangents. But I think one thing that I want to get across to men, if there are men watching, is to understand that if a woman can't receive from you, or even, like, you know, again, I hear it all the time when men are like, I tried to do something or say something nice to a woman and she just attacked me. I would say 99% of the time, that attack is a trauma response. You've triggered her, and it's probably a trauma response from some time in her past when likely a male, not all the time, but likely a male, has made her feel unsafe for whatever reason. Whether it was actually some kind of like traumatic abuse or something like that. Like, it's most likely a trigger. I think, for one, I think if men listening, if they could understand that most of the time when women snap like that, if you as a man know that you are coming from a genuine place, you are genuinely, and that genuine place can be that you're attracted to her, like that, if that's not a not genuine place. Now, if that place is, okay, I'm gonna say this nice thing to her because I want to see what I can get from her, and then expecting her to give you something back, and she snaps at you, then she probably was intuitive enough to know that that's what you were doing it for. You know what I mean? Women are very intuitive. If your genuine place, even if your genuine place is, I'm very attracted to her and I hope that this goes somewhere, but I want to do something nice, and I would like for things to move along, I'd like for things to move forward, I'd like for us to have an interaction, I maybe would even like to have a sexual interaction with her. But you're not doing it to be like, hey, can I get something from you? You're doing it from a, hey, I want to gift this to you and let's see where this goes. And not holding on to that, okay, I need her to receive this in a certain way, right? That neediness is very unappealing and very unsafe for the feminine, right? If you're doing it from that genuine place, in that situation, if she snaps at you or doesn't receive it well, it's likely because she is holding on to trauma from a past experience. And as much as I'm sure that that hurts, and I'm sure that that's difficult, especially if you're truly coming from your truth and you're truly coming from a genuine place, I also think that letting you know that as long as you're sure that that's really what you're coming from, and it's good to train yourself to know when you're coming from a genuine place, because that's always a good thing for you, is knowing that that might not be about you. And not to compile on, not to shame her or get angry with her, because that's a losing battle, right? And you're now just gonna make her feel even more unsafe. It's more, I think, a matter of just understanding that, you know what, that trigger, that trauma was probably not about me. Wish her well, even energetically, just send her love and hope that she heals. I think that's gonna be more healing. And especially if your ego might be hurt, like your ego might be like, well, why is she assuming that I'm just a jerk or whatever? But if your ego then snaps back at her, it's just gonna make her feel even more unsafe, and it's just adding to the trauma, right? Now for the women watching, I do highly encourage as women doing the healing on yourself so you can intuit when a man is actually coming from a genuine place, or when he is actually trying to be predatory, or he is actually trying to manipulate you or something. And healing that intuition within yourself and being able to connect and be open and receptive and knowing your boundaries and knowing when it's a safe situation and when it isn't, that's work that you need to do as a woman. Not for men, because I see this so much where there's so many women who think like, well, I don't want to heal my feminine energy. It's just another thing that men want me to do, or I have to do this for men. No, it's for you. It's 100% for you. Because at the end of the day, if you're a woman, and you, especially if you're a feminine cord woman, you blocking yourself from receiving these things, like to punish men, is only hurting you. I mean, yeah, you might hurt a lot of men in the process, but like you're hurting yourself even more. So I would highly encourage, if you are a feminine woman and you feel like you're having trouble receiving, which we've all been there. I mean, I still get to that point. I've done a lot of work on a lot of this stuff, and there's still times when I get kind of like, you know what I mean? It'll bring up stuff for me, and then I have to work through it. Like, we're all works in progress. But if that sounds like you, I highly, highly recommend that you do more work on your feminine energy so you are more open to receive. And if you're interested in learning more about that, especially if you are new to healing your feminine energy, I have an online course called Feminine Radiance. It's in the description box below if you would like to look into that. But yeah, if I can get anything across to the people watching, it's for the men to understand, like, look at your intentions, look at yourself. I mean, men have a lot of healing to do as well as women do, but you know, if you really are coming from a genuine place of integrity, it's understanding that sometimes this stuff isn't about you, that this is other trauma that's going on. And as women, it's healing that trauma, because unless we can do that, we're never going to get to the root of what we all really want, which in reality is like, masculine men want to give to a feminine partner, and feminine partners want to receive from a masculine partner. And if we don't do that healing, and we just keep being bitter and angry and blaming each other for, you know, women can't do this and men can't do this and whatever, we're never going to get to the place we want to go, because we're just blaming each other all the time. I actually do have a really great example, and this is my first masculine feminine energy film breakdown series in How to Marry a Millionaire. There's actually a scene where a man is hitting on Marilyn Monroe's character. It's just the first like TikTok video I did about this topic, and it shows such an amazing way that a masculine can actually flirt with and actually compliment and really make a move on the feminine, but from such a grounded, safe, healthy place. So yeah, I'll try to link the TikTok video below. I'm not sure if I can do that, but look up my How to Marry a Millionaire breakdown, because that actually gives a really great example of that kind of like flirtatious complementary dynamic that actually works really well for masculine and feminine energies. I want to make a note, because I know this is such a controversial topic and whatever. I really wanted this to be a little bit more about like offering compliments, offering help, things like that. And as women, we really need to train ourselves to, like, you know, when somebody gives you a compliment, just like receive it and enjoy it and say thank you. A smile and a thank you is you know, appreciation enough. Letting someone do something nice for you and actually just being open to that, like, just retraining yourself to realize that's safe is so important. I do want to make a note about men paying on dates, because again, that does become such a controversial topic every time that I bring this up. So I'm sure that bringing this up now is going to make this video controversial. But when you're on a date, if you're really talking about the masculine and the feminine and like what we really are at our core, like we're talking about like primal level stuff here, like not like our surface level of like, oh, how much money do you make, how much money do you make, and whatever, and this and that and whatever. From a primal level, I mean, if you think about it in reality, like, it used to be the only men that got to mate were the ones who could go out and make the biggest kill and kill the biggest dinner so he could bring it home to feed his family. Because if you couldn't go out and hunt and kill dinner, you couldn't make a family, because you weren't able to feed your family. And by that dynamic, the only men that should actually ever get laid are men who actually can go out and actually hunt and kill their own dinner. So just saying. Modern day women aren't even asking men to do that. They're literally just saying, hey, can you take out your wallet and pay a bill? But it's that same kind of energy. It's that same kind of, a man is essentially saying like, look, I have the capability to provide for you. And in reality, a woman is testing him in a sense of like, okay, well, what can he provide for me? How can he provide? Do I have a future with this man providing for me? And that's why I believe it's so important to, because you get a lot of men that kind of are like, well, I can't afford where she wants to go, or I can't spend this much money, or I can't do this, whatever. Yes, there are some women out there who are vindictive. There are some women who are out to punish men or destroy men. I'm not going to deny that there aren't women out there who are like that. In general, most women, even women who are testing you, because women will test a man. I mean, that's a natural dynamic of a woman testing a man. She wants to know, she wants to feel your strength. She wants to know that you are going to be the man that she needs. And in the same way, men should be observing the woman that he is on the date with or getting to know or whatever, and saying to himself, is she going to be a woman who's going to suit the life that I want, that's going to, you know, fit in with the direction that I want my life to go. I mean, 100%. But what women are doing on these dates is they're testing you. And most women, majority of women, especially ones who are there, who are trying to find a solid partner, they don't want you to go broke. Like, they don't want you to overspend your money, to spend beyond your means, because that's massively unsafe for a woman. If you're willing to do that now, it shows that you're not going to be good with money when you're together, when you're in partnership, when you potentially have a family. She doesn't want to do that. She's testing to find out, like, what can you afford? Like, what life can you provide? And she wants to know that the life that you're going to be able to provide for her and a family is going to be what she is going to be able to live with in that sense. And that's going to be different for every woman. You know what I mean? Like that, there are going to be women out there who are going to, you know, have different needs and different desires. And there's some women out there who are going to need you to have big bucks. There's some women out there who, you know, I mean, obviously more money is usually better, but who aren't going to necessarily be looking for somebody who's going to give them, you know, some kind of big extravagant life. That they really are looking for somebody who wants something a little bit more simple, maybe like a small country cottage in the woods or something like that. Like, different people have different needs, but in reality, what she's doing is trying to figure out if you fit those needs and if you're going to be a provider. Even if in her mind she's like, nope, I want to work, nope, I want everyone to be equals, blah blah blah. Like, there's a primal urge in women, especially when they're connected to their feminine energy, that wants to know that a man can provide. Whether or not she's going to require him to provide, whether or not she even wants him to provide, there is that deep inner need for a woman to know that a man can provide. If you're a man and you're like, okay, well, she only wants to go to the most expensive restaurants and I can't afford that, well, be honest with her. Like, be honest and open. Like, I can't afford this. And she may say, okay, well, you know what? I'm cool with going to someplace less expensive, or I'm cool with this or whatever. Like, she might be fine with it. You know what I mean? Like, if it's coming from an honest place, if you just, you know, are like, well, I don't want to spend money on you, or you're trying to spend money on other people, or blah, 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 whatever, that's a different thing. But like, if you're coming from a genuine place, then, you know, if she's like, well, no, I need to go to these fancy places, well, then you guys just aren't suited. And that's part of the getting to know each other thing, is knowing, okay, well, if this is the lifestyle that she needs, and you're like, well, I'm never going to be able to, or even have the desire to provide that kind of a lifestyle, well, then you guys just aren't suited. And in the same way, men should be observing, okay, is this a woman who I'm feeling a call to want to provide for? Do I feel like instinctually, primally, this is a woman who I want to provide for, I want to give to, I want to care for. Like, not from like I want to bribe her, like see what I can get from her, or not from like a needy kind of place of like, oh my god, I hope she loves me, I need to give her everything so that she loves me. And not from like a place of, well, I'm gonna give to her and see what I can get from her because it's a temporary thing. Like, that's icky energy. That's just gross. Don't do that. When a feminine woman evokes the masculine energy in a partner, he's gonna feel a call to want to provide and protect for her. And if you as a masculine man are like, okay, I'm not tapped into that, you gotta ask yourself, why? Is it her? Am I just not tapped into my masculine energy? Is she not a feminine woman? Is she not calling on me to do that? Do I not feel that? And asking yourself that. It's you know, the masculine observes the feminine. The masculine witnesses the feminine. That's really what the feminine wants. The feminine is light, it's radiance. So as a masculine partner, when you're on a date, observe the feminine, observe her, see what she does, and see if she fits into what it is that you want. Are you feeling called to provide for her? Are you feeling called to do something nice, to compliment her? Are you feeling called to do that? If you're doing it from like a needy place or from like a manipulative place, well then yeah, she's gonna shut down. Like that's, unless she's self-destructive or she's got her own issues that she needs to heal. But like in general, if we're talking about like a healthy feminine woman, she's gonna feel put off by that. And I think that's where, you know, you need to work on yourself as well. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on paying on dates. And you know what? I'm 100% prepared for hate comments, because I know I get them anytime this subject comes up. It's fine. Say what you want. You can call me a gold digger, because I think a man should put down money for a burger and fries. So, you know, whatever. If you want to call me a gold digger for that, call me a gold digger. I can handle it. I've been called worse. I'm just giving you the dynamics behind it. So, I mean, the gist of this and the idea is that yes, women do have a very difficult time receiving. I would say almost every time it's from some kind of past trauma. It may not even be their own trauma. It may be trauma they've witnessed from, like, you know, their mother, say, maybe getting manipulated in certain situations, or it's just been something that's been passed down to them generationally, or from like witnessing, you know, other women close to them, you know, in those situations and whatever. It's coming from trauma. As women, we need to heal that trauma, because it's good for us. It's not just for men, but doing it for us. For men to understand that, look, if you're not coming from a genuine place, then that's something that you need to work on for yourself. If you are coming from a genuine place and just being a good man, like you shutting down and just being angry and bitter at women for not being receptive, not going to help the situation, because it's not going to make women feel safe, and we're just going to end up at a stalemate. We're just going to keep rewounding each other, right? So in that situation, I would hate to see men shut down that aspect of like doing and saying nice things to women, and actually like being giving and being complimentary and being helpful and being providers, because, you know, women are acting out their trauma and stuff. So I mean, I think if we all collectively heal, then we're just all going to be better. And I think it's also having an understanding for each other, of women giving guys maybe a little bit more benefit of the doubt and not just automatically assuming that they're being sleazeballs, and men also having a little bit of compassion for the fact that there are a lot of women who have been traumatized by men who did not always have the best of intentions, and sometimes those triggers and traumas end up living out, and they end up taking out their anger on maybe somebody who may not actually deserve it. So yeah, having a little bit of understanding and compassion, and everybody working on their own healing, I think is just really the answer, as opposed to just constantly blaming each other. So that's my 2 cents on this topic. I hope it made sense. I know this was rambly, but this is a topic I see come up a lot, and there's a lot of nuance to the whole situation, and I just really wanted to cover it and talk to you guys about it. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Be sure you subscribe to my channel. If you have any other topics you'd like me to talk about, leave in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. I love your suggestions. If you would like to heal your feminine energy, I have a course in the description box called Feminine Radiance. Be sure you check it out, along with links to all my social media channels. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time.